Hello everyone, and welcome to the Dice Commando YouTube channel. I'm Andrew, with you here as always. This is the Commando Cast, a video cast about all things Star Wars Destiny. This video and others like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. Please show your support with a like and subscribe, and be sure to hit the bell notification icon so you don't miss any new videos. If you want to get involved with the channel, consider becoming a channel member. There are many benefits to channel membership, including access to our Discord, exclusive deck tech and strategy videos, and the opportunity to help create channel content. I want to sincerely thank all our channel members, as I truly couldn't do this without your support. You guys rock. Go Commando.
Hello Star Wars Destiny folks, welcome back to the Commando Cast. Good morning. So a couple weeks back, our good friends over at ARH, they kind of released their initial plans, or at least their plan to have a plan, their vision, if you will, for the future of Star Wars Destiny as it pertains to rotation and the re-legalization, permanent legalization of Fantasy Flight Games real cards, right? Your field medics, your stuff like that, right? What will the game look like several years down the road? How do they plan on incorporating FFG real cards into the ARH standard format, and so on? And as part of that initial vision, they've asked the community to give our feedback. And this is a really exciting opportunity for us to not only share our thoughts, but really to kind of shape the game from our perspective on how we want it to look and what we think it should look like. And this is a big deal, right? Because even though they've said that the reprint list, the FFG re-legalization list, whatever you want to call it, they said that can change over time. And in fact, for those of you who've looked at the survey, you may notice that the convergence cards aren't on there yet. So obviously, as that rotates out, the legalization list will change. That said, getting it right, or at least getting it in a good place out of the gate, meaning this first time, is very, very important, because that will forever be the baseline of what we look back to and say, oh, well, this is the way it used to be, right? So what I wanted to do this week, and we're dedicating a whole week to it, is I want to give kind of my thoughts on philosophy, and then actually go through and talk about some specific cards and stuff, just from my perspective on kind of my vision of what I would like the set to look like. And I'm doing this as part of my own process of going through and carefully filling out that survey. So today what we're going to be talking about is kind of overall philosophy, and then, like I said, over the course of the week, we'll hit the various topics. So buckle in and let's talk reprint list. All right, folks. So thanks for joining me today. That's right. We're doing a whole week for this, but I think it's worth it, and I think it also makes sense to break it down instead of trying to do one big shot. So today I wanted to explain kind of my philosophy, or at least where my head is at when I've been approaching this this survey. So what we have up right now, this is the survey itself. They've kind of broken it down by page, and you do have to put in your email to do it. Now, I do want to note, I've already gone through and filled it out once for myself. It sends you an email output, but you're allowed to go in and change your answers up until August 15th, I believe it is. Yes, 15th of August, 2021. So that's in about a month from now, right? A little less than a month. So we have plenty of time to go in and think about this, right? So there's no reason to rush it, but it's time to start having that conversation. So and we can kind of go through, the survey itself. They list all the battlefields. So do note, of course, that, convergent stuff isn't in here. But this isn't about the survey as much today as is kind of what my approach when I'm going through stuff. So what I wanted to do, the reason I had this up was I wanted to go ahead and go next. And do note that you don't have to actually click anything to get the next page, which is nice, right? So it says choose 15. You don't actually have to choose 15. You could choose 0. So this is that I wanted to stand on characters, because this is one of the items, or kind of the overall philosophy things. When I'm going through this, I'm asking myself a couple questions, and I'm trying to be fair from both sides, right? Because one of the things they said when they threw this out was that it's important to not think of this as a Destiny's Greatest Hits album, and I thought that was a really apt statement, because what we should do in this, what this set should do, not we, right? What this set should do, or this reprint list, not set. What this list should do, in my opinion, is provide the baseline of stuff that there's no point in redesigning. right? And so basically I'm asking my question, can another card do it better? Or could another, right? Doesn't mean that card has to do this, but could another card do it better? Or is this one of those cards where if it gets changed, is going to change how Destiny looks, right? And the one I've used all the time, you guys are probably sick of this example, is Field Medic, right? Field Medic is a red card where you pay 1 and you heal 2. There can be different variations on that, and there have been over time. First Aid, Run to Safety to a certain extent, and stuff like that. But fundamentally, that curve has held throughout Destiny of pay 1, heal 2, right, from a red hero card. So can another card do that better? Probably not, right? So that would be, in my head, like that's a lock, right? You look at like a flank. Like, can another card do it better? Sure, it could be 0. I mean, could another card do Field Medic? Sure, if there's a 1 for 3, right? But that's not, like, that's something that we don't want to see, because that fundamentally changes a lot of the truths, the inherent truths in Star Wars Destiny. So that has continued to be one of my approaches. I go through, the list, looking at, like, does this card hold firm? Can it be done better? Is it a staple card? Should it be a staple card? Because that's essentially what these cards are becoming, and stuff like that. So specifically why I was referring to the characters is the characters and upgrades and supports and stuff to a lesser extent, the die cards to a lesser extent. They bring up an interesting problem from the design standpoint. And what I mean is that the reprinting reprinting dice cards presents an interesting challenge, interesting issue from a design standpoint of they're the fun stuff to do. Right, if you're a designer, you want to go design the new Ayla, you want to go design the new Luke. So having those staple, like having a large reprint list of characters, one, as eventual creep happens over time, those characters of course become more and more useless, or more and more niche. Maybe is a better way to say it. And then it also potentially hamstrings the ARH guys. It gives them less space to go and design. So all in all, from a dice card standpoint, there's not as many that I will select for this. Like, I don't have 15 characters. I only have like 4 or 5. And fundamentally, it's because of that reason of, we can go have fun and design the characters, and the characters set the baseline. But it's really the supporting stuff, in my opinion, of the events and stuff that provide those baseline curves that should feed into the characters. So hopefully that makes sense. That's basically it from my philosophy standpoint, my approach standpoint is, how do we balance leaving room for change, leaving room for new stuff, not change? Change isn't but new stuff, right? But how do we balance leaving room for the future? That's the better way to say it, with keeping the foundation of the game solid. And in my opinion, the foundation of the game, for the most part, isn't characters. It's the events that provide those curves. And there are some upgrades and events or supports and stuff as well, of course. But from an overall standpoint, the majority of what makes this game is there are a couple battlefields that I think just can't be done better, or a lot of events that I think could be done better, and some other stuff. So that is the approach that I'm going to be taking overall this week when I approach it. And keep in mind, of course, right, we already talked about this a little bit, but the convergence cards are not in this survey yet because they haven't rotated out yet from an ARH standpoint. So that's another challenge that we kind of have on our plate is, there are cards that were reprinted in Convergence Block because they were deemed staples. And in my opinion, those are auto locks. Like, those should almost definitely be in this list. So, the ones that I can go through and find from that perspective are definitely going to be on this list as well, right? I mean, we've already had that answer given to us by some people of what the long-term vision of the game that never happened were. It doesn't mean we have to stick to it, but it's certainly a good starting point in my opinion. So that's really what we're going to be doing this week. So in tomorrow's episode, Tuesday episode, we're going to be looking at characters and plots. The episode after that, we're going to be looking at, make sure I have them right here. Episode after that, we're going to be looking at battlefields, specifically doing a whole episode on battlefields because I think that's very, very important. Thursday, we're going to be looking at upgrades and supports, and then Friday is going to be the big day as we go through and talk about my events list. So Anyway, that'll be it. I look forward to doing this week with everyone and getting your feedback and your thoughts as well, right? And again, while we're trying not to make this a Destiny's Greatest Hits album, everyone has their own vision of what Destiny is and should be. And I would like to hear that feedback and those thoughts as to what we need to do to shape this to look like everybody, right? And let's be very clear. I'm not saying, okay, let's take this feedback and this is going to be the set. Like, I'm under no guise that if I put in my votes, that's the way it's going to be, right? But what I can do collectively is try to make my votes as impactful as possible to myself, because when they look at the votes, that's going to influence what they believe the community wants. So what we owe them, what we owe ourselves, is to put that in the best possible spot so that they have the best possible starting point. So that's what we're looking at this week. Look forward to doing it all with you. Thanks, guys, for joining today, and I'll see you this week. Go Commando.